Our guest is Rayvon Owen. Stay with us.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hello! What's up to all of our viewers, our listeners? Welcome to AfterBuzz's Spotlight On. Again, I'm Jaimi Gray, and we have here Rayvon Owen in the building. How are you doing?
Hey, boo.
Hey.
How are you?
Reach out and touch my hand. You guys,
I can't.
I am so flipping excited. Okay, I need to give you like just a little backstory. I know Rayvon.
We got a lot of backstory.
We've known each other for literally 14 years, right?
A long time.
Yeah.
A long time.
And now we're here from the VA to the LA coast. We're from Richmond, Virginia, small town. And yeah, we're here to talk about Rayvon, all about your accomplishments, your journey,
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me
Of
here.
course.
This is so crazy. It's like a
Seriously.
full circle moment.
Literally, we were talking about that. It's a full circle moment just because we've come so far. We're both, in our element, and you're here. So
We're here.
let's talk about it.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So a lot of people know you from American Idol. It's one of the biggest things, such a great accomplishment
Thank you.
that you achieved literally not even that long after you moved to Los Angeles.
No,
Yeah.
it was crazy. I met Dr. Drew. We all know and love
Yes.
Dr. Drew and his wife Susan Pinsky shortly after I moved out here to LA. And I got the opportunity to audition, and it was like life-changing. I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you said, it wasn't long after I moved out to LA, maybe like 7 months.
Just
And
making moves.
I was already ready.
Yeah, but it's so inspiring, especially because when you moved out here, I wasn't even out here yet. So I think you're inspiring a lot of people all over just to move to LA, especially when you come from so far. But we will get into American Idol. We'll get into everything. I want to right now promote your new single, X.
Yes.
Okay, so you just came out with your lyric video this past Friday.
Yeah, we put together a lyric video. I wanted to, kind of share a bit of my perspective where I am now as an artist, since Idol, and kind of going back into those old relationships and old feelings that I was afraid to talk about and afraid to express. So now I'm digging back into those old archives.
Yeah, but just
and
keeping
those
it real.
feelings.
Yeah,
Exactly. And showing a different side of me and an authentic side that people may have not seen before.
Okay, well, I want to look at it. I want to hear it.
You want to hear it?
Yeah, so let's take a look and a listen at Rayvon Owen's X.
One too many times you put me through this. Now I'm doing better on my own. I thought I was done with all your bullshit, but I still see your name on my phone.
Wow.
So why you come? Let me out. I thought I made it very clear.
Sounds good so far.
Boy,
Yeah.
I'm glad
moving on. I don't need you here. Ain't got no more tears. You got me like, boy, I deleted your
Got a nice beat. I like it.
Right it out.
Hey.
Don't waste your breath, boy.
Ooh, I like it. And I like that I can relate to it too, okay?
Come on.
Yeah.
I think it's relatable. I mean, we all had a little shady situation, and a
Okay,
little
especially
something
in
that we've
this
been
day
through.
and era, this whole age, everyone.
This whole social media age. And
yeah, X is by the pound.
Yeah,
okay?
I mean, I think we all easily distracted. There's a lot of distractions right now between Instagram and notifications popping up, or old people popping up that don't need to pop up.
I
So
know.
we need to swipe left, okay?
Swipe left. I love it. Well, congratulations on this release.
Thank you.
What emotions did you feel as you're gearing up for the release? Were you nervous? Were you excited?
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely, I was feeling the gamut of emotions because it's like your baby when you're putting it out there into the universe. You've been working on it for so long. I've been sitting on it for like a year, I
Yeah.
think. So it's like you've been building up the anticipation to this moment for people to hear it. And I think it's really cool to see something that came from your imagination and came from your personal experience.
Yeah.
And came out in the songwriting session come to life and put the video to it and the music and the pictures and have it all come together as a full product from your baby. It's like a little birth.
My little baby.
Yeah,
I was
it's
like,
like
he's
a
pulling a
little
Taylor
pregnancy.
Swift here, saying, his ex. I'm like, okay, who is it about?
Calling him out.
Who is it about, Rayvon?
Well, because that's what I was saying. I was always afraid to sing about boys.
Yeah.
And I those relationships and experiences I kind of kept to myself and kept hidden. And they're real relationships, and we go through stuff just like everybody else. So I have so much content that I'm like, wow, I didn't realize was even there. And so when I became more comfortable with myself, I think I was developing more as an artist at the same time. And so it's about, I mean, it can be applicable to a lot of people, but it's definitely inspired primarily by this one person. I'm not going to throw his name out there.
Oh, okay.
But a relationship that I had in college that was unhealthy. And I never really sing about it. I never wanted to take myself back to that place for my own reasons. So now it's like all coming out of me.
Yeah, I love it.
Not that I was like repressed or anything, but you know when you just keep so many emotions to yourself, eventually it comes out. And so for me, it's just coming out through my music. So
you're probably triggered and you're like, okay, let me get my pen.
I know.
But were you more like a Cardi B or a Nicki Minaj? Did you push your pen or did you get some help with it as well?
You're definitely, I mean, all credit, you know, I give credit to where credit is due. My songwriter, Spencer Hendricks, and producer Trey Wright, I worked with on the song. But they kind of gave me the freedom to like go in where I wanted to go and talk about what I wanted to talk about, which was cool. And they kind of let me put the shine on it and help me put it into words. But I definitely went in on this specific, you know, it was flowing out of me when I was writing it. I was just like, oh, this. And I just thought about the moment of it being over and receiving the text message on my phone, like, why are you hitting me up again?
Yeah, we've all had that. They
like,
always come back.
We're over. Like,
they always come back.
We're done, ski, okay? So you don't need to be coming back and popping up in my life. And I think me being in a healthy relationship now and like happy and settled, I don't know, that comfort probably brought it all back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like just seeing how far you came.
Exactly.
Yeah, that development. It's really great for me to see it and to witness it as well.
I know you've been seeing it.
I've seen it. I've seen the growth. So that's why I love that we're here talking about it. Now, we just heard the mastered version. We saw the lyric video. Can we hear you sing it a little a cappella? Can you sing or can you sing?
Okay. I mean, I was on American Idol, so I was asked to definitely sing a song. We could do a little bit.
Okay.
Give me a little bop. Got me like, boy, I deleted your text. Ain't got no regrets. Don't waste your breath, boy. You ran out of chances. I got new romances. You'll always be my ex.
Woo! I love it.
A little snippet.
Yes.
I love the applause.
I know, I love the applause. Shout outs to our engineer. We have a great team here at AfterBuzz. Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, so now you guys know he cannot just sing, he can sing, okay? He can sing a cappella.
It's not just in the studio.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so let's get into your background because, again, we're here to get to know you. We got to hear your release, your single, so now let's, take it back. Okay, so you are from Richmond, Virginia. It's a small town.
Yeah.
What prompted, what got that singing bug in you to even start singing music at all? When and where did that start?
I think it happened in church.
Okay.
I grew up singing in church, and my mom, she always encouraged me I was on the usher board, the choir, the junior deacons, the engineer. Speaking of engineers, I used to do the sound, like recording the preacher to like VHS. So I was doing everything, pretty much anything I can get involved in, so like the production side. I was involved in, but I definitely found a special place singing in the little Sunbeam choir, is what we used to call it. And I had my first solo, which I'm pretty sure was, yes, there is hope, Lord, there is hope. You know that song?
Nope.
By like the Brooklyn Mass Choir. And the reaction I remember seeing from the congregation, the church ladies, everybody, it was a different energy like when I sang. And I was like, oh, okay, is this like a magic wand? Like I have something here, I guess, to work with. And I just continued to develop, and had a pretty good ear from a young age, listening to the parts. I would sing with the sopranos, and then I would be helping out the altos and the tenor. Like I would do everything, yeah. And then when my
one-man choir.
I know, but literally when my voice changed, I went from like soprano to tenor in like
a second,
2 weeks.
Yeah.
I was like,
So just bringing that back too. When I grew up, I actually wanted to be a veterinarian. I have since
I didn't
changed
know
that. Like, I think most kids do. They want to, help out the
That's
animals, Now
I used to
that
wanna
I'm
be a farmer.
older, yeah, ooh.
I don't know why.
I don't know. That's a good one. I'm not
Because
sure
I thought
why.
it was like Old McDonald. I thought it was like happy with the farm, with
Oh,
the animals and stuff.
Not when you hear, like, when you
No.
smell the manure.
No,
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
But I wanted to be a veterinarian, and then that shifted, and then I kind of found my place, found my element. What kind of made that shift for you from being in the church and then to doing the style of music that you do now?
Well, I was passionate about music, and so I think I just wanted to learn as much as I could. And I started taking piano lessons. And then when I was in middle school, I joined the Richmond Boys Choir, which you know what that is.
Yeah.
Because you came and saw us perform.
I did. Christmas specials, all of that.
Right.
It was
We were
great.
all over. And it was like a legit thing in Richmond. Like
Yeah.
people, and still is. And really around the country. I mean, we got to perform at the White House. We would travel, performing at different events and singing behind different artists all the time. And so that kind of gave me a diverse, like we did classical, spirituals, gospel, R&B, soul, country. Like we pretty much covered all genres, which I loved. And so I was like learning different things. And that got me inspired to writing music. And I was writing gospel music. And I started working with these producers in Richmond who they would work on the music and like give me a CD player, because back then it was on CDs.
Back in the day.
All right. And then send me up in the basement, and I would start like writing lyrics, to the track. And so I would just put my headphones on and just start writing as I was listening, and just started writing what was coming out. And so that was my first experience like songwriting to kind of more like urban pop gospel music, inspirational music. And then in middle school, when I found out that we could pick a specialty center to go to, I was like, duh, I'm going to go for music.
Yeah, Center for
the
the
Arts,
Arts.
which is where I met you.
Yeah, where we did musical theater.
Where we did
so
musical
it's like
theater.
Rayvon is very eclectic. He can do gospel, he can do musical theater, he can do R&B, you can do it all. And so, which also brings me into when you went to college. We know so many artists from back in the day and even today where they are not actually pursuing college after high school because in a sense they don't really need to. They've already kind of gotten into the field of their dreams, per se. Maybe they'll go a little bit later. Tell us about your experience, because I know that you went to Belmont College. There's numerous locations, but you went to the one in Nashville, Tennessee, City of Music.
Tennessee.
So tell us about that experience with college. Do you feel like it was necessary?
Here's my take. I mean, my take on college has changed, and I think I'm totally happy I went, and I love Belmont, and I learned a lot as well. I think everyone has a different path and a different journey, but I'm so happy that I got to experience that, because I always say Nashville was like my training ground. Like Richmond was like where I birthed and kind of got my initial skills honed, and then Nashville was where I really started to focus it in and talk about songwriting, because country art, like it's a country heavy town, so that, like it's a lot about the lyrics, a lot about writing, and that's where I kind of switched my perspective. Like, okay, I can write more than just gospel, more than inspirational. I can write about other experiences too, and that's okay. And so that's kind of where the pop and the R&B kind of side of me started to develop. And I started to learn my voice and get training in vocal music and classical music again, and piano, and a lot of training where I can consider myself a musician, not just a singer,
Yeah.
But I think it's really important. Again, now in today's age, I'm like, look, is it 100% necessary? It just depends on the person, in my opinion. I'm glad I went, because I felt like I wouldn't be ready and wouldn't be the artist I am today and the musician I am today. So that's kind of a hard question, because I don't want to discourage people from going to college, because I encourage college and you learn a lot. I just think in the sense of music, I think if you're going to go to school, for music, go to a school in Nashville, or go to a school in LA or in New York, where you can also be around the industry and get that realistic experience too.
Yeah.
Because I'm in sessions nowadays with people who just graduated from high school, and they're like already straight into the industry, and they're killing it. And I'm like, and that's cool too. So that's why I kind of say it just depends on the person.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that I went and got that experience.
Yeah, and again, just like you said, it depends on the person. I think, especially with the industry, like if you're a doctor, please go to school.
Please go to school.
If you're a nurse,
I do
please
not
go to school. Like,
don't
I
want my
wouldn't-
doctor.
yeah, that's just where I'm at, you know. But I also think, just me personally, depending on the type of field that you want to do, if you are trying to get into entertainment, at least do your first year, your freshman year.
That's what I'm
because
saying.
you can't get that back.
No, you
I don't want a
can't.
40-year-old as my
Like,
roommate my freshman year. So that's what I'll say on
and
that.
like the dorm life and
there's nothing like it.
the food and stuff. It's nothing like it. Like I can't. There's nothing that can
can't get it
top
back.
those experiences.
So yeah.
I don't know. That's such a hard question, especially in today's world where student loans are such a big thing and
Right.
But education is definitely important.
Yeah.
I always encourage people to go because there's so much musical stuff that I wouldn't know if I didn't go to school for it.
Right. So then after college, you moved to LA,
Mm-hmm.
which is a huge move. Tell us about that process coming from the East Coast to the West Coast.
Yeah, it's definitely a leap and a risk because I came out not knowing anybody. I knew one person who I was living with, who I'd performed with back in Virginia. And it was definitely a gamble and a risk, but it's kind of cool because it kind of put me out of my comfort zone and forced me to socialize, forced me to get out there and meet people and network and kind of see the field of what's going on out in LA.
I want to know the process of literally how you got here.
Literally.
Because there are going to be so many hopefuls who want to move to
yeah.
Los Angeles. Tell us briefly the process of, getting out here.
I mean, it's hard because I came out here with like no money, you
Yeah.
know, like a few $100s in my
$1 and a
pocket.
dream.
Right.
Yeah.
But I grinded. I worked at Best Buy in high school, you remember, and I applied to the Best Buy out here, worked out there for a little bit. In college, I started doing these college tours, kind of transitioning myself to help like save a little bit of money to move out here. I was lucky to find somebody that my mom knew from back home to help me move in and get situated.
Right.
It's definitely a risk. I mean, I would tell people to try to save up a little bit.
Of course.
But at the
Don't
same
come out here with no money.
but at the same time, if you wait forever, you'll never. Because I know some people that've been trying to save for years and still haven't made the move. So it's definitely a risk and a gamble. I mean, I just remember, moving in there, having enough to probably pay maybe a couple months rent, and then just looking for a job and trying to get by. But it's definitely a sacrifice, and you have to be willing to discipline yourself and work every day because in your spare time, then you need to work on your dreams. Like you need to
Right.
work on your goals. And as you know, out here it's expensive and it's hard to get yourself on your feet when you're trying to do what you love, but at the same time pay bills
Right.
and like be realistic.
Well, I'm glad that it worked out for you. Which also, just for the hopefuls, the key to saving, I think, is to have the skill to save. It's not even just about how much how much you have in your account. If you don't know how to save, you're not going to be able to save. So now let's just jump into American Idol. This is one of the biggest things that you're known for. Now, American Idol, this is not your first rodeo.
Yeah.
You were.
No, we tried this a few times.
Yeah. So what made this time different? You said that you knew Dr. Drew, and then you kind of got in the audition rooms.
Yeah, they encouraged me to go out and audition, and they had heard about the process through a producer for the show, and I went out. I think what was different this time is, of course, the maturity, and then going through college and kind of going in with a sense of comfort, like, okay, honestly, I think because I didn't make it before, mentally I was just like, well, if they want me, they want me. If they don't, they don't. I've tried this so many times.
You were so close to giving up.
I know. I was just like, well, shoot. But I think that comfortableness gave me a sense of calmness, because if you go in there like, I'm so nervous, like this is my shot, this is my last shot, like it's gonna reflect in your energy and in your performance. So I think that's what made the difference this time, and me walking through that and kind of trying to stay in that mentality and trying to be excited but not let myself get too ahead of myself, and try to find that middle balance. I think that's what helped me get through some of the earlier rounds.
Right. And so then you made top 4, which I was so proud.
Which is crazy.
Virginia was proud. you
Yeah,
know.
it
But
was
it
pretty
came with
insane.
definitely, some ups and downs. I remember the segment that American Idol had. It was called, where I think, well, you could save one of your favorite contestants.
My
So,
butt was in the. I don't know.
Yeah.
Can we curse on this? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
my
be
booty
comfortable.
was in the freaking bottom all the time. I think I broke the record of being in the bottom.
So basically, for fans
for
to
making-
vote for you, they had to hashtag save Rayvon.
Had to save Rayvon,
What was
so-
that like? Just multiple weeks. How many times were you actually saved?
4 times.
Four
So for 4
times.
weeks in a row, I was like the #1 worldwide trend.
Yeah.
In the entire world was save Rayvon.
What
People are like, who
emotions-
is Rayvon?
Yeah. What emotions did you experience during that?
It was tough because especially at the beginning, I thought, oh, why am I always ending up here? Like, do people not like me enough? Like,
Yeah.
what is it not that? What's the disconnect here? But at the same time, it was encouraging because I kept getting saved, and I think that made people fight for me, and that made me perform better under pressure and want to fight for myself. But again, I had to keep that sense of calm and that good energy throughout. But it's hard when there's so much going on. You're thrown into an entirely different world. You have, cameras and music and
Yeah.
TV. Like
The whole world is
it's,
watching.
And everyone's reaching out to you. Like, my phone's just constantly blowing up. Everyone, do this, do that. Sing this song, sing that song. It's like everyone's trying to tell you who you should be and how to win. But particularly Save Rayvon was a tough but exciting at the same time.
And it showed that fans love you.
Yeah, because people were pushing, and then the more throughout, I think that's why I won every one, because at the beginning they saw me fighting, and like I think under those circumstances I gave some of my best performances.
Did any of the judges ever come and talk to you like behind the scenes?
Yeah, we got to talk to everybody, but particularly I connected with Harry Connick Jr.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes. He waited to talk to me outside of the room after I got after I got cut, and he said, I never get the amount of time that I want to. He's like, I almost wish I could be a mentor, not a judge, because I
Yeah.
want to pour into you. And like, he's like, I see a lot of myself in you. And I always wonder, because he was so hard on me
Well, that's probably why.
during the season. Like, but I'm like, we need the vote. So can you be nice? Because America is like influenced by
Exactly,
what
by
the
the
judges say.
opinions, yeah.
So when the judges are like, that was great. That was great. I think America's like, yeah, that was great. And
Yeah.
they vote. But as opposed to Harry Connick, he would say, oh, this is great to someone. But then I would go out there and like pour my heart out. And then he'd be like, that was good, but da-da-da-da-da-da. And he
Right.
would just all the time be so hard. And I thought he didn't like me. But
Yeah.
afterwards, it kind of made sense what he was saying. And he even had heard about Shane, my fiance, and heard about the whole, me coming out and everything. And he was like, I'm just so proud of you. And
That's so awesome.
so happy for you and your journey. So it was cool to connect with him. And I got to go by his school in New Orleans, his music school for like underprivileged communities and everything. So he's really a great guy. I mean, they all were great, and talking to them, I got to connect with J-Lo and
Keith Urban.
Urban,
What are
who
your
always
thoughts
sings.
on American Idol coming back? Because you were on season 15, I believe?
14.
14. So then now it's been 2 extra seasons already.
So yeah, the yesterday was the finale.
finale.
Yeah.
Yeah,
of
what are
the
your
s-
thoughts
of
on it
the
coming back?
second season on ABC? Initially I thought, oh, it's too soon. If they're gonna end it, they need to let it wait. But then I'm like, in today's instant world, I guess why not keep it going? If ABC's gonna get behind it, I think they've been doing a good job. It's
Yeah, you got new judges. I know that you, Lionel Richie, he was a judge, and you actually know him personally.
Yeah. Lionel, I met. Well, that's a story of LA, because that was the first time that I visited LA. This was before I moved here, while I was still in college, my senior year. My cousin who knows him, we got a phone call, or she called me one time I was doing laundry in college, and she says, I got someone on the phone for you. And he picks it up and he's like, hey, this is Stevie Wonder. And I'm like, huh? And he's like,
What?
just kidding, this is Lionel Richie. I'm like, big difference.
Yeah.
But because of that, then I visited and we became close, and he kind of mentored me and told me about the real world of LA and of entertainment and how it's tough and everything. And
That's awesome.
so we kind of built a relationship, but it's been great. I love Idol. I think he's an amazing judge, and a lot of things that he said to me personally, he's been saying them, and it's real life.
Okay, and how have you stayed booked and busy? That's all. People always want to be booked and busy because a lot of times we don't always hear about some of the recent winners, you know, of American Idol. Even now,
I hear that a lot when people are like, "Oh, you seem very active. You seem like you've been going." But you have to be the motivator for yourself. No one's gonna believe in you as much as you yourself. So that's kind of been my mentality, and I wanted to take advantage of the platform that I've been given and blessed with. You know, this huge opportunity to meet so many people and have so many people have access to my music and who I am, which is so huge. Not everyone gets that type of opportunity. And I think staying in LA is a huge thing because a lot of people, they move back home or they move somewhere else. I'm like, where you going? Like, stay where the action is, you know?
Yeah.
So I just, you know, and no tea, no shade to anybody else because I love all the other idols. But I think for me, it was important to stay in LA and continue the grind. And I think when you go on the show, because you're treated like a VIP, like you're flying like private jets, like you're meeting everybody. And so I think people think that's going to continue, but it doesn't.
Right.
You know, you have to continue it yourself.
Well, I'm glad that you've been able to keep it up because I know, again, LA it is not easy out here. It could be an isolating city, so I'm proud of you. And then even after American Idol, you made a huge reveal that literally changed your life. Tell people what that is.
I came out, honey.
Woo!
I came on out of the closet.
All right. Does it still feel weird? Or are you more comfortable now, even saying that you're gay? Like, how do you feel, like, even today?
Yeah, it's definitely been extremely liberating. I think it was a big fear to because I had to accept it for myself before I could, you know, tell other people and have other people accept it. So that was a journey within itself. And even to this day, it's still, you know, the back of your mind, like, you know, how you
whoa.
you're like, what, did you do the right thing? Or did you,
Of course you did, though.
Yeah, but oh my gosh, I've never been happier, never felt more free and liberated and just more free to be me.
And that was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
It's like, it seems far away, but it really wasn't that long ago.
It wasn't that long ago. I mean, compared to like your life, because I always say, you know, straight people, like you straight from the beginning, but then imagine like coming out as straight and then that small amount of time versus how long you've been just alive and existing. So it's almost like starting over in a way of just dating and being public and not worrying about who cares, like, because it was a big hidden thing for me for a long time.
And now
very
you feel
filtered,
free.
very filtered.
Yeah.
That's the word I'm looking for. And now I feel definitely more free and more authentic.
What gave you that push to even make a confession?
Idol was a big push.
Really? Why?
Yeah, because because I knew I had made it so far before it even aired on TV. Because you go through Hollywood Week, I've made it through that. And of course, through the audition process, Hollywood Week, and you know, through the pre-live rounds, you know, the semi-final rounds before we go live. And so I was like, oh my gosh, my audition is gonna air in January. I didn't know. I knew I was gonna be continuing to make it for at least a while, enough for people to be talking and like, you know, press and stuff like that. I didn't know what was gonna come out. I didn't know if some old, you know, guys or some that I've talked to back in the day was gonna start chit-chatting. And a big thing was my family. I wanted to tell my friends and my family before they heard it from other people.
Right.
That was important to me because, you know, I wanted to have the chance to say it first. And so that's what really pushed me, because I had been thinking about it. I went through this whole relationship that my ex that I was telling you about. I went through that whole relationship pretty much privately, and then that was before Idol. Then Idol was starting to happen, and I was going through that whole journey of accepting myself, and that's what really pushed me. I was like, I'm gonna be on TV. People are gonna be talking, so let me tell my family first. But while I was on Idol, I was still in the closet. I'm saying to my family. So it kind of happened in phases, if that makes sense.
Gotcha.
So it's like family and friends, still going through Idol, going through the whole journey. once Idol was over, I met Shane, and that kind of really put the icing on the cake because I saw all he had went through with losing his past partner, and I had lost a friend of mine who was our age, you know, and I was like, I could die tomorrow. I'm like, I just need to tell people life is short. Yeah. And another thing, musically, it was easy to sing, to say girl or sing about a fictitious relationship.
Those pronouns.
Exactly, to a small group. But then once I had gone through Idol and more people knew me, I was like, I gotta be honest. Like these people are starting to follow me and look up to me. I need to tell them the truth and tell them what I'm singing about and where this is coming from.
Do you feel like you've officially dived into your truest self?
You know, I think that's still a journey.
Yeah.
I think that's a journey. I feel like that's a journey for everybody in a lot of ways. But just speaking for myself, I think every day I continue to find more ways to just unveil and just
learn
like
about
share.
yourself.
Yeah, and learn about myself. The good and the bad, the ugly, you know. And that's a hard thing to do, but I definitely think I'm headed in that direction. At least I hope I am.
Right, yeah. Well, I mean, you're on the right track, you know, just being yourself. That's really all you can do. And just kind of take it at that. I feel like I've noticed with Black gay men, you know, when they come out and they express their sexuality, at sometimes it does not always have a positive impact. For instance, Frank Ocean. We loved his music. We still love his music. But when people started to find out about his sexuality and who the songs were really about, there was a shift.
Exactly.
And it was a noticeable shift. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's still a journey that we are going through as within the Black community, as far as acceptance, as far as the whole masculinity issue. You know, we feel like as a community, you know, when you grow up as a young Black man, you are supposed to be strong, you're supposed to be masculine. And for some reason, that and gay doesn't go together. I don't know why, but that's just how it's been. And so I feel like that's something that, we're definitely struggling with. And it's a big motivator for me to continue to be so vocal and open about who I am as a gay Black man. That like, hey, you can be a strong gay Black man. You can be a successful gay Black man. You can do just what you want to do just as much as anyone else can, you know? And so, I feel like it's a hard thing within the community. I don't know if it's because of, you know, of faith being so intertwined within the Black community or whatever it is, but it's definitely something that I'm working on.
Right, you're working on it. And I know that, you know, you said that coming out did affect your friendships, your relationships, family relationships as well. In any ways, did it affect your faith?
Of course it affected my faith. I think it made me look at my faith and the reasonings for why I believe in certain things in a slightly different perspective. I'm still a person of faith. It didn't change my faith. I think it increased my faith. It made me closer to God. I think as you learn to love yourself and embrace yourself, you know, God created me. God created us all, I believe. So when you learn to accept how you were made in his image and you learn to look at the fruit of how you were living and how your choices affecting other people, including yourself. So when I started to look at the fruit and say, okay, me accepting myself equals happiness, me embracing who I am equals more authenticity, which equals more, you know, positivity and light. And so there was it just seemed like positive attributes attached to it. And so that just made me look at my faith like, okay, wow, you know, I think it's about the journey of you know, modeling your life after Jesus and taking that and applying that to how you can in today's society and in today's world. So
He's preaching in here, y'all. I was like, that was deep. He's talking about fruit, and I'm hungry now. I'm like, which by the way, guys, he's vegan. You know, I know he's no longer eating
that's
no
another
meat,
change too.
You know, so no wonder he mentioned all the fruit. Ugh.
And I go back around to my Black folks. I'll be like, I'm sorry, I can't eat this.
Yeah.
I wish I could. I know that. Yeah, that's a whole other separate thing. But
Well, I just want to say I am proud of you. You know, just as a friend, as a fan, as you know, just someone looking on the outside in. You know, I'm proud of you for how you've been able to come into your own. But also, I mean, just even more on a more positive note, you and Shane, Brittany Chrome, you guys are now engaged.
I know.
Our viewers, you guys might actually know
crazy.
Shane. He is an LGBTQ plus activist, and he has his film on Netflix. It's called The Bridegroom, right?
Bridegroom,
And,
yeah.
and so you guys can go ahead and watch that, check out Shane. But yeah, that was an even bigger shock. So you guys,
I know.
I mean, you guys are going to get married. How does that feel? So you came out 4 years ago. Now you're engaged to a man. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that was a whole thing too, because I never imagined myself being, you know, publicly with a guy, let alone married to a guy.
Right. Leaps here.
I know.
That's not a baby step. That was a leap.
That was
a
a
hop
leap.
and a skip and a jump.
We went, But, you know, it seems like a leap from the outside, but from my journey, you have to remember it's been years of like slow growth.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Can you
getting to that point.
Can you describe the proposal, you know, just as far as, because you got proposed to on stage at Demi Lovato's concert, and you guys know her personally.
Yeah.
So describe that whole moment.
That was the best day of my life, first of all. It was insane. We were going to the concert, and I had no idea, by the way, because everybody asked me, you had to have known, right? You knew. Like, they were all on it together, Demi and all the friends and the dancers, because she was like, hey, guys, I need some help on this next song. And the dancers kind of dispersed throughout the crowd, looking for a fan, you know, really to throw me off. And I'm like, wow, this is a whole production just to throw me off. They're really going in on this right now. And I'm looking at, you know, our friends Matthew and Syra, and they're like, you should go up. No, you should go up. Shane's like, you should go. You know, we're like pointing at each other to go up. Like, ha, ha, ha. They're not going to pick any one of us. And the dancer is literally like, and then he points at me, and I'm like, okay. And so I run up over. And mind you, Shane is like sitting next to me, right? So I like walk by Shane to like go out the aisle to like go backstage with the dancer. And while the dancer carries me this way, he carries Shane, or somebody else comes and grabs Shane and takes him underneath the stage from another direction. So I don't see him going that way. So I'm going up the stage. I'm thinking like, she's going to be like, what are you doing up here? And that's exactly what she said. She's like, oh my God, what are you doing up here? I'm like, I don't know. What am I doing up here?
She's good. Demi had the acting chops.
She was like,
Camp Rock 3, okay?
She brought it back. They really made it special. And
that is amazing.
Yeah, and then he literally, she's like, where's your boo? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like looking where we were sitting, and he comes up on one knee from underneath the stage on her trap door, and I literally fell to the ground. Like, I've never felt, you know, the expression weak in the knees. I've never until that moment actually genuinely felt that, because it's almost like time skipped or something. I was just
you literally did
I was
not
on the
feel
floor. I was like, did I faint? Did I pass out?
Well, I want to see it. Let's just take a look down memory lane of your proposal video on Demi Lovato's stage. I'm sure our viewers want to see it, so let's take a look. Oh, and he's falling.
I screamed.
Oh my gosh, listen to this crowd. Like, I feel like they knew, you know, before you that
they might have had an inkling. Maybe I don't know if they saw Shane or what, but they were just screaming and so high energy. And I mean, everyone was crying.
Right.
The whole room was just so shook.
Yeah.
You know, it was such a positive energy. And then they got the nerve to make it even more special. And
she
says the words to us, and then 2 chairs pop up on stage, and she sings her song called Yes. From her previous to last album, which I love that song already.
Yeah, and look at you and Shane.
Pictures of us like fly across the big jumbotron. Like, I ain't never seen my face that big on the screen.
That is so amazing.
So it was really cool.
And so you guys are now gearing up for your wedding. How's planning going on for that?
Planning is good. We've been definitely thinking about a lot and how we're gonna do it to get, you know, his family's from Montana. Of course, we got the family and friends in VA.
Yeah.
So we're trying to figure out the best time frame and location to like get everybody together to be there for the wedding. I know I'm always joking. I'm like, we're gonna have the longest engagement in history.
Oh my gosh, don't say that. Oh, so 2025.
I know, right?
Wow.
No, we're looking at 2020. We're looking at 2020 to try to get it done. But I mean, we're not in any huge rush. I mean, we obviously are planning, and weddings are expensive, and trying to get the whole thing together.
Okay,
and figure out how we're gonna
RSVP.
do it. Yeah, I know, right? But we want to do something cool and something that's us. And
Is Demi Lovato invited?
of course.
Oh, okay. And so since you guys were on her stage, we love Demi Lovato.
Yes.
She's like any artist; they've had ups and downs, but she is looking better than ever.
Yes.
Have you talked to her recently?
Yeah. She's amazing. I'm
How's
so
she doing?
she's incredible. She's always been such a huge support of Shane and mine, and I love her to death. She's happy and healthy.
I'm really honestly
Yeah.
I'm so excited for you. I'm excited for your future, for your wedding,
I'm
for your
excited
music.
too.
And-
It's a lot going on, but it's good. It's
Yeah.
good. We gotta stay out here. You know what I mean?
The grind,
Stay out
the
here in these
grind never
streets.
stops.
It never stops.
The marathon continues.
And
Yeah.
I have a feeling it's probably never gonna stop. It's like the more we, I look up to someone like Demi too. It's like just the more we grind, the more we work, the more opportunities come, and I think it's gonna be more about the journey and less about the destination.
Yeah. Well, again, I'm super excited for you. You guys, again, Rayvon Owen. Make sure of course, you pick up his single X. Look at the lyric video. Listen to get the lyrics, okay? Don't get it from any other site. All
right. We got the official lyrics.
The official
up.
lyrics.
Okay.
But make sure to tell people, where can they find you, Rayvon?
You can find me everywhere online at Rayvon Owen, RayvonOwen. I'm on Insta. Follow me, tweet me, snap me, Rayvon Owen, YouTube, and you can listen to the music, of course, iTunes, Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, Tidal.
Everywhere.
It's everywhere. There's no
Everywhere.
excuse.
You can't escape
You
him.
can find it.
Yes. And you guys, I'm Jaimi Gray, your host. Thank you so much for tuning in to our Spotlight On series. Again, pick up X. We love you for watching. And
Yes.
again, we'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.